Betting on yourself, the revolutionary power of self investment. Have you ever stood at the edge of something terrifying and wonderful, knowing that the next step could change everything? That moment when your heart pounds against your chest, your palms sweat, and a voice inside whispers, "What if you fail?" But then, what if you fly? I recently had the extraordinary privilege of interviewing Elizabeth Connors, whose groundbreaking work with Black women entrepreneurs has transformed how we think about resilience, self belief, and legacy building. Elizabeth isn't just a researcher or an advocate. She's a revolutionary force who has documented the untold stories of women who dared to bet on themselves when the world told them not to. Her insights weren't just informative, they were transformative. And today I want to share the wisdom she imparted because it might just change your life the way it changed mine. The truth is, we're living in a world that constantly tells certain people they don't belong in certain spaces, that their dreams are too big, their voice is too loud, their ambitions too lofty. Elizabeth's work directly challenges this narrative, showing us that betting on yourself isn't just an option. It's the only option that guarantees you won't lose before you've even begun. Let me tell you about Kathy Hughes, a woman whose story Elizabeth documented with such care and reverence that it feels almost sacred. In the 1980s, when the radio industry was dominated by white men, Kathy was a single mother with a vision that seemed impossible to others. She wanted to create programming that spoke directly to Black audiences, programming that reflected their experiences, celebrated their culture, and amplified their voices. But when she approached investors, doors slammed in her face, banks denied her loans, industry insiders laughed at her ambition. So, what did Kathy do? She mortgaged her house, putting everything she owned on the line. She slept on the floor of her radio station, not for a night or a week, but for years. She went 7 years, 7 years without taking a salary. Can you imagine that level of commitment, that depth of belief in your own vision? I wasn't just building a business, she told Elizabeth. I was creating a legacy. Today, Urban One is valued at hundreds of millions of dollars and stands as the largest African American owned broadcasting company in the nation. Kathy became the first Black woman to head a publicly traded company in America. But here's what's fascinating about Kathy's story and what Elizabeth emphasized in our conversation. The most important investment Kathy made wasn't in equipment or marketing or real estate, it was in herself, in her vision, in her capacity to withstand rejection after rejection without letting it diminish her sense of what was possible. This is what Elizabeth calls the revolutionary act of self belief. It's revolutionary because it defies a system designed to make certain people doubt themselves. It's revolutionary because when you bet on yourself, you're not just changing your own trajectory, you're changing what others believe is possible for themselves. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. That's a nice story, but Kathy Hughes is exceptional. I'm just me. Let me stop you right there because that's exactly the kind of thinking Elizabeth's research challenges. Consider Lisa Price, another remarkable woman whose journey Elizabeth has documented. She started mixing body lotions in her Brooklyn kitchen while working full time elsewhere. Her products, made with natural ingredients inspired by family traditions, were initially sold at flea markets and craft fairs. Friends and family questioned why she was playing around with lotions instead of focusing on a real career. But Lisa kept bidding on herself, one small step at a time. She named her company Carol's Daughter after her mother, grounding her business in love and authenticity. When major retailers initially rejected her products, claiming there wasn't a market for natural hair and skincare for Black women, she didn't give up. She built grassroots support through word of mouth marketing. Today, Carol's Daughter products are sold nationwide, and the brand has become a household name. Lisa eventually sold the company, a move that some criticized, but that ultimately expanded the brand's reach exponentially. The difference between Lisa and countless others with similar dreams, Elizabeth told me, wasn't talent or opportunity, it was persistence. It was the willingness to keep betting on herself when the odds said she should fold. This brings me to the first crucial lesson from Elizabeth's work. Bet on yourself, even when, especially when, the odds are against you. The journey of entrepreneurship and leadership is filled with setbacks. You will hear no. You will face rejection. You will encounter systems designed to make you doubt your worth and question your abilities. But the most important investment you can make is in yourself. Your belief in your own potential must remain unshaken. As Elizabeth so powerfully put it, the only gamble guaranteed not to pay off is never betting on yourself at all. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Elizabeth's research reveals that resilience isn't just about enduring hardship, it's a superpower that can transform industries. Let's talk about Venus Quates, a woman whose story made me rethink everything I thought I knew about courage. As both a woman and a minority in the tech industry, a field notorious for its lack of diversity, Venus faced isolation and skepticism at every turn. After relocating her business, Launch Tech, she found herself in an environment where few looked like her or shared her experiences. What did Venus do? She turned that challenge into an opportunity. She proactively recruited diverse talent, creating a team that brought varied perspectives to problem solving. She leaned into mentorship networks, both receiving guidance and offering it to others. And when COVID hit, threatening to derail everything she'd built, Venus pivoted, seizing unexpected opportunities, including random calls that led to major contracts. The result? Launch Tech has been recognized 3 times among America's fastest growing firms on the Inc. 500 list. This is extraordinary when you consider that only 1% of Black owned businesses hit $1 million in annual revenue. Venus didn't just survive in tech, Elizabeth explained. She revolutionized how business can be done in that space. This brings us to the second crucial lesson: resilience is your superpower. Black professionals and entrepreneurs face unique barriers, whether it's access to capital, industry bias, or being held to different standards. But those who persist and adapt often become trailblazers who change their industries for good. They don't just overcome obstacles, they transform them into stepping stones that elevate not just themselves, but entire communities. Which leads me to the third and perhaps most profound lesson from Elizabeth's work: legacy matters. When Kathy Hughes built Urban One, she wasn't just creating wealth for herself, she was creating a platform where Black voices could be heard. She was opening doors for generations of media professionals who might otherwise have been excluded from the industry. She was changing the narrative about what Black women could achieve in business. Similarly, when Lisa Price scaled Carol's Daughter, she wasn't just selling beauty products, she was validating the beauty of Black women at a time when mainstream beauty standards excluded them. She was creating jobs in communities that needed them. She was inspiring countless entrepreneurs to trust their vision and start their own businesses. And when Venus Quates built Launch Tech into an award winning company, she wasn't just securing her own success, she was demonstrating what's possible in an industry where Black women represent less than 3% of the workforce. She was creating a blueprint for others to follow. This is what Elizabeth calls the ripple effect of self belief. When you bet on yourself, you're not just changing your own life, you're changing what others believe is possible for themselves. You're creating pathways where none existed before. You're building a legacy that will outlive you. As Elizabeth told me, with a passion that still gives me chills. Every step forward isn't just about personal gain, it opens doors for others and inspires a new generation of leaders. Building something greater than yourself ensures that your impact endures beyond individual success. Now, I want to be clear about something. Betting on yourself doesn't mean you won't face setbacks. It doesn't mean you won't experience failure. It doesn't mean the path will be easy. What it means is that you refuse to be defined by those setbacks. You refuse to let failure be the end of your story. You refuse to let external circumstances determine your worth or your potential. In the words of Elizabeth Connors, the world will try to place limits on you. Your job is to defy those limits every single day. So here's my challenge to you, inspired directly by Elizabeth's powerful work. Today, not tomorrow, not next week, but today, identify one area where you've been playing small out of fear or doubt. Where have you been holding back? Where have you been dimming your light? Where have you been allowing others' perceptions to limit your possibilities? And then take one bold, unapologetic step towards your biggest dream. Apply for that funding everyone says you won't get. Pitch that idea again after it was rejected. Launch that business you've been dreaming about for years. Raise your hand for that promotion. Speak your truth in that meeting. Because here's what I know for certain. After my conversation with Elizabeth, the world doesn't just need more successful people. It needs more people who are willing to bet on themselves when no one else will. It needs more people who refuse to accept the limitations placed on them by systems that were never designed for their success. It needs more people who understand that their triumph isn't just personal, it's political, it's cultural, it's revolutionary. Your self belief isn't just about you, it's about everyone who will come after you, everyone who will see what you've done and think, if they can do it, so can I. So bet on yourself. Not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Not because success is guaranteed, but because the attempt itself is an act of revolution. Not because you'll never fail, but because even in failure, you're expanding what's possible for others. The world is waiting for what only you can build. The time to bet on yourself isn't someday, it's now. And I, for one, can't wait to see you soar. Thank you.